John Wick versus the world again. And we're gonna take a bite size out of it because I don't think that there is so much to talk about John Wick except for I did many years ago a review of chapter 3, and I think I'll try right now a brief recap of the John Wick movies that personally I did like them, especially the first one in which the whole shabazzle that happened in the movie is because, well, he just goes against people in revenge to his dead dog, which is kind of like the last memento from his wife, from what I remember. Then the second movie, things get a little bit more deeper, and it ends up with him being manhunted. And then we got the third movie, which is basically John Wick versus the world. And so I thought that up to the third chapter was indeed kind of like a nice cap for the whole John Wick movies. But, well, they decided to make one more, and here we are, chapter 4. And I went to watch it, considering that I just kind of watch them and somehow kind of forget about them because it's kind of like a big plot, which involves John Wick and, his this underworld league of assassins, and everyone now is against him. So what else there is to be? Well, they did that. They kind of put kind of like a cap on the whole John Wick chapters, and right, at once I will say that I was really entertained, despite that it was a very paper thin plot, and you have to be kind of like in the correct mood to watch it. So what mood do you mean? Well, for starters, you must know that there's the whole background of John Wick. And second, you must not, how can I say, expect grandmastery and lots of logic in how people technically survive, like, gunshots at point blank here and there. That kind of attitude you gotta give. You have to get it. And I did watch the movie, just fairly entertained by the great choreography and action scenes. But sometimes when what makes it a little bit, how can I say, boring, is when they stop doing the action parts. Because trust me that when the action stops, I got a little bit sleepy. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it drags down to the point of being a little bit boring. That is until the next action scene comes up, and let me tell you that if there's this movie that is called a big action scene, this one it is, because man, that those action scenes, they drag on and on, but you're entertained. This is technically the greatest spectacle that this movie has. But speaking of action scenes, I will say that the climatic action scene is really big, but you can tell this is where they put a lot of style into it. So much that I will generally say that my favorite part is when there's this bird eye perspective from a building that you see then John Wick, shooting with a shotgun and his gun into all his bad guys, and they linger it for a long time, enough for you to be entertained. So I'm like, wow, this looks amazing, and it shows that there was some dedication to it, to just make it kind of like an entertaining movie, not kind of like those Oscar-worthy performances that they just want to put in a message, but they say that no, let's just make an action film just for entertainment. That's pretty much some of the things that I have to say. As for acting and characters, I will say that Keanu Reeves, he does well as the character, but I think he was born into it. And I know that many people always kind of cut slack with Keanu Reeves, saying that he's a bad actor in many movies that there is. And let's say that I don't want to be kind of like that harsh on him. I will say that his acting style, it kind of fits in a certain roles, and John Wick is one of them. That it fits. It's not exactly kind of like the best one, but it fits. It fits where it is, and and of course I'm not gonna get a harsh on anybody else. Everyone also does their job in as their characters. Like for example, some of the notable characters is this guy. I think it was played by Florence Fishburne, in which in the here at IMDb they call him Bowery King, but honestly he's more like his name as Mr. Nobody in the movie, and he has a dog. He has a dog that goes in Becca's call every time, and and also there is what was it? Is it? Sorry, I forgot the name. Donnie Yen. Yeah, Donnie Yen played out this kind of like this blind assassin who he just goes to kill John Wick. Even though he say that no, I didn't do any, I don't do this kind of job. But of course his daughter is threatened, so he's pretty much kind of like the Japanese / Chinese blind martial artist that it doesn't matter if you're blind or not, you still kick ass. And of course we got Clancy Brown as the Harbinger. We also have Bill Skarsgård, kind of like the Marcus, who is kind of like the bad guy, the one that is on top, and he's corrupt and everything, and he just wants John Wick dead. Which is, and as you notice, I haven't even said anything about the story because it's basically kind of like the third movie, but this time with a lot of more of some parts that gives out some closure, which is basically John Wick versus the world. Everyone is onto him. Some allies reluctantly help him because they know that whenever he's here, death comes, and that's it. And that is until it gives out some closure in the epilogue and the conclusion. And I will say that I might sound like I'm hyping the movie, but like always, I always brings out a little bit of a negative. I already said that some parts drag on, and it is mostly a paper thin with plot with with a lot of action. But here are a few other things that might call it a little bit more like a nitpick instead of me just rambling about the movie. The first nitpick is that you have to be in the mood to accept some of the weird stuff that happened, because there's a lot of people, they kind of resist their kind of like they do kind of resist bullet shots in point blank. And it doesn't matter if they're wearing an armor or they say that, oh yeah, those suits, they're kind of like Kevlars, and they're but still you have to be in this mindset. Probably the biggest what the F moments that this movie has is that John Wick just jumps through a building, crashes into a car, and you're surprised that his bones are not broken. That's the kind of attitude that you must be a little bit forgiving in order to enjoy this movie. And what else there is? Oh yeah, there's also the logic about how many rounds of gun they shoot. I mean, there's some guns that they shoot kind of like 12 rounds, but honestly, this one kind of like ignores saying that how many bullets this gun has, and it's gonna take a while for them, to reload and everything. And finally, I do have a little bit of concerns with the ending, because the ending felt, for me, is that it's not exactly terrible, but I kind of saw it. It felt like it is a stock ending that I'm not exactly kind of like a fan of it. But well, they do what they do. So honestly, this is my 2 cents about John Wick Chapter 4. It is enjoyable. It is fun. Go watch it if you are a fan of John Wick, or else you're gonna get lost. But that's pretty much I have to say about it in short. John Wick, wow. I don't know. I wanted to say that.